Hello everyone, Ashkonde here, and in today's iteration of Book Club, we're gonna talk about famous thriller novel by Dan Brown called Angels and Demons, or as they call it in the Netherlands, Het Bernini Mystery, or Bernini's Mystery. Let's see. Alright guys, so maybe to have a small preface about Dan Brown and me, it wasn't the first book of Dan Brown that I read, and I actually haven't watched the films. And I think it's quite appropriate for the Dan Brown to start from any book you like, because technically even the cinematographic sequence is a bit weird. They started from Code of Da Vinci, and then successing with Angels and Demons, which is the first Dan Brown's book that I just read. And I personally started from Inferno, which was, I think, the fourth one. And personally, you wouldn't really lose much. And this is not a kind of a sequence of books where you need to read all of the books between separately. Something that I think experienced with the Jon Nesbø's Detectives, where it's better for you to read the books in the correct order. So yeah, Angels and Demons. Why such a name is here? I have no idea why it's called in this way, because the Dutch name to me seems a bit more appropriate. Probably Angels and Demons is more poetic, while Bernini Mystery is more like more straightforward. Because, indeed, the whole book is based around the works of Bernini, mainly, and Illuminati. Yeah. Anyhow, so, it all starts from Robert Langdon being a professor in America who is specialized in symbolism and history of art, receiving a call from Kohler, who is the head director of CERN, CERN. And this is like the research facility, and Maximilian Kohler, being also a disabled person who sacrificed his life for the science, and they were all working on exciting things, and one of his colleagues, Leonardo Vetra, was found dead under weird circumstances, and it was found there was a brand mark on his body saying Illuminati. Exactly, so this is how the whole mystery starts, and then Robert Langdon, together with the daughter of Leonardo Vetra, Victoria Vetra, she's also Vetra, going to Vatican City in order to understand what is going on and find the key to this whole mystery, because it seems like the secret assassin who killed Leonardo Vetra is going after all single cardinals and also the Pope in order to get rid of them. That's probably what Illuminati do. Robert Langdon, together with Vittoria, they went to Vatican, they were talking to the people there, they were all super pressured, and after this they were going around the city and they found another cardinal dead with a brand mark fire, and then they, I think initially it was earth? Or air? Or water? No, water, no. Yeah, so the assassin was killing all of them in a different way, and those four main candidates, they were all killed in a specific way, as they burned alive, or drowned, or feed earth, or cut their lungs, the guy had some creativity and symbolism in their deeds. And of course, the whole mystery was behind the Bernini, who was also connected to Illuminati and was also part of working for the Church and the Pope and the Rome and After all, with all these works being around the city, Robert Langdon and Vittoria Vetra, they were going back and forth, going to different churches, going to different places, finding out different signs, mysteries, and at the end of the day, they managed to find a place where assassin was hiding, and actually it was already the part when Vittoria was taken by the assassin. She was taken hostage, and then Robert found her and him, and they had a fight, and then they killed him. And yet it was not solved, because you know what? The biggest problem was the huge antimatter bomb will explode at midnight below the Vatican City and will kill everything around that. That is basically why, lives of cardinals are pretty precious, but of course, there is some further problem that antimatter explosion may potentially bring, So, there's been a lot of sequences, and the style that Dan Brown usually writing, he has a lot of shorter chapters that are trying to move the story forward and forward from different perspectives, giving the clues to the reader that, hey, this is something here is happening that the main hero doesn't know yet. It was quite cinematographic, it was reading in the sense that like films usually are done, they give the information, they feed information to the reader, to the viewer, who knows what may happen if the main character would not do something, or if we already have some clues, more clues than the main character has, It's, all these tricks. Of course, it's all, has a lot of symbolism in it, a lot of art, history, symbols used in the whole book, surrounded that. And, they are helping the main characters to solve the problems. And of course, then it all comes to the peak, you already found the assassin, but the assassin wasn't working just on his own. There was someone inside of Vatican working together with him, called by his nickname Janos. But could it be that Maximilian Koller, who called out Robert Langdon from the United States to solve this problem, was Janos? You never know. That is what the guys thought, and they were rushing as fast as possible from the Fort of the Angels in Rome back to the Vatican, and they were going for the secret tunnel, and then they found that Maximilian Koller was almost shooting the Camerlengo of Pope, and he was shot dead by the Swiss army, who were, usually Swiss guards. Sorry, not Swiss army. And Maximilian Koller gave the tape to Langdon saying, give it to the media, please, when it comes to time. And it turned out to be that this recording was basically stating that Camerlengo was the Janus, and his plan to overtake the church and clean it from the Pope, of whom he learned the terrible story that he has a child. The motive for Camerlengo to do this was super weird, in my view. He was... And especially the twist that Camerlengo turned out to be the son of the Pope, whom he just poisoned and killed. Yeah. In the end of the day, they managed to save everyone. The Camerlengo himself prevented everything from happening. They both, together with Robert Langdon, get rid of the bomb, detonate it safely, it was fine. They both were super cool. Robert had a badass landing from the helicopter where he was trying to save himself, and then they went all back and then revealed all the evidence that Camerlengo actually planned this all, and then the reveal by one of the other cardinals that Camerlengo was the son of the Pope that he just poisoned, and then he, I think, killed himself or something like that. Was that the case that he killed? Did he kill himself? Yeah, he set himself on fire. Classic move. Yeah. But just to say, what even goes further than that? Because Pope wasn't just a simple man, and he honored the science, and he was talking a lot with Leonardo Vetra, from whom he learned about the antimatter. He actually didn't have sex with a woman in order to make his son, but it was the artificial insemination. That is why he technically didn't break his chastity, sort of. Yeah, I don't know, like, with all honesty, Dan Brown, like, hands down to the guy. He's making an enormous amount of work, I feel like. He knows a lot about the art, he at least made a lot of research about all the ways, and he actually, like, went through all these places in Rome and the Vatican in order to plan this all out, because, it actually requires a lot of work and a lot of preliminary research. I have not a lot of questions. Some questions about the story. I think this whole style of his is, I think, a bit too rushing all the events. He tried to put as many events as possible to make it look cool and more mysterious. Actually, like, yeah, I mean, I know I have, like, the pocketbook, but it still had, like, 800 pages. And after this, it's still, like, yeah, it took me a lot of time to read the book. I think I was also, to be honest with you, I was reading it in Dutch. That's why, first, it was harder for me. Second, I don't think I was really hooked up by it, I was hooked up by Inferno. I think I definitely see myself being hooked up on Angels and Demons as well. It's really pure entertainment of a book, You, like... It's incredibly entertaining. There is not much depth in terms of the characters. No, I wouldn't say so. Characters are weak in terms of the sense they don't really show a lot of them as people. They are really acting a lot like in those bad dramas, soap operas, whatever you call them. But I think the whole idea of such genre is not about the characters, but more about the sequence of the events and how the story will unveil itself. And with this, Dan Brown did a great job, I feel like. He gave enough clues for us to come to the certain conclusions. Who was that? And as in all detective books, it's exactly what you would like to do. I still feel like a lot of things were not necessarily necessary, but probably they were, because you basically needed to paint this whole picture of 4 elements. There is some symbolism to it as well, and then especially when Langdon in the end received the last brand mark with all the 4 elements in it, which is also part of the symbolism. Yeah, and there is also the semi-romantic line with Vittoria Vetra. I don't know, like, why is that needs to be there? That's a bit weird, especially that Tom Hanks portrayed the Robert, and he actually was, I think he was in his late 40s or something, like the 50s, and Vittoria was portrayed as a super young woman in her mid-20s or something like this. That was weird. Maybe just how I imagined them to be. Maybe was less weird. It just... Robert Langdon was portrayed as such a Superman guy. Something... The guy without any flaws, and which is, I suppose, that's some kind of a thing you gotta take for granted in this kind of genre of books. I'm not saying again that this is a bad book. It just for the genre of itself, it's incredible thing. You know, it's an incredible piece. Maybe from art, does it discover a lot of problems? I feel like it tries to say it does, but at the end of the day, it maybe like 3% of the whole book. There is no much understanding of why Camerlengo did this. The whole reasons and motives of him doing that basically coming in the one chapter of a book which has more than 100 chapters, you know. That's maybe a bit disappointing, and maybe I felt pretty much the same when I was reading Inferno. It was really eventful book. I remember liking it. I remember liking the sequence of seeing different perspectives from different people, and you're like being here and being there. Then you're looking at different events, and you as a reader knowing already that the characters from another part don't know that, and something that I acquired from my own book when I was writing it, partially at least. But yeah, that was definitely a handful, and I feel like at the end of the day, if you're more into the books that will provide you more of entertainment rather than food for thought, go ahead. Dan Brown is definitely should be your choice, and this is kind of a book which I like in the sense of this is the book that you read and as if you are watching a film, you know. So you watching something which not always goes deep into the character development or something, but it's more about the beautiful picture of events and how everything is going on. And it's a really eventful book. There is a lot of there is enough descriptions to the point for you to make a picture in your brain, to have the atmosphere, and you always feeling the pressure in almost every chapter while they need to do a lot of things. And yeah, I feel like sometimes he's just putting too many events, and that is a bit overwhelming, I think, when you're reading, but I definitely see a lot of people liking this style. So yeah, that was my take on Dan Brown's Angels and Demons. Not sure if you guys read it or not. If you did, let me know in the comments what you think, or if you watched the film, or if you read any other Dan Brown books. I would love to hear your opinions. Yeah, that's it. So thank you very much for listening, and bye.